Welcome back to A Good Sandwich. Today we're going to be making easy bread. When I lived in Spain, it was called pan básico. I had to think about that for a second, what it was called. It was called pan básico. Here in the United States, we might call it rustic bread. But it's really, really simple. There's three steps in the process in order to make it. And tonight we're just gonna make the first step, and then we'll let it sit for overnight, and we'll come back in the morning and show you the next step. But it really is really simple. You put these four ingredients is all that is in the recipe. So we're gonna put the 3 cups of flour. We're gonna put 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. We're gonna put in 2 teaspoons of salt, and we're gonna kind of mix those together a little bit. It's gonna be a hands-on operation, trust me. This is a recipe anybody can do. Even your 8-year-old could make this recipe. Okay, then we're gonna add our water to it. And we want this to be kind of a wet mixture when we're done. So we're just gonna kind of mix this all together very gently so that it doesn't make too big of a mess. We'll get it all mixed up together good. Sometimes you might have to add just a little bit of water or maybe just a little bit of flour in order to make it just right, but it's usually pretty close. When I was in Spain, we loved to eat this bread, and so I was super excited when someone introduced this recipe to us, because it does taste almost exactly like the bread in Spain. In fact, if you go online and you look for other recipes, most of them won't have too much difference in ingredients at all. So we just mix this all together. Try to get all of your flour absorbed and all the water. Kind of gets a little messy. And then once we have it all mixed together good, then we're just gonna cover it and set it in here to sit until tomorrow morning, and we will come back and finish it up. We're gonna add just a little bit more water to make it just right. Not much at all. Just right is just a little bit wet. You don't want it dry, and you don't want it like real doughy either, okay? So this is just a little bit sticky, but not very sticky. And that right there is gonna be just perfect for what we're looking for tomorrow. So until tomorrow, we'll let it rest. It's a minimum of 8 hours. Okay, welcome back. It is the next morning, and this is what our dough looks like for our bread. Now we're gonna get our hands a little bit floury so they don't stick too much. We're gonna grab the dough out of the bowl, a little bit more. And we're going to stretch it out, and then we're going to fold it into thirds. We're going to make a 1/4 turn. We're going to stretch it out again. We're going to fold it in thirds again. And then we're going to flip it over. And now we're just going to turn it into a ball. And so we're just gonna kind of turn it and pat it as we go. You can kind of be somewhat aggressive. You want to get the sides tucked in so that there's no seams from your folds. We have our bowl ready to go here. So we're gonna spray our bowl, our pie plate. We're gonna spray. We're gonna lay our round bread in there, our dough, and we're just gonna baste it a little bit with some olive oil on top. And we're gonna put a little bit of flour on top, like so, about like so, and we're going to cover up our dough again. We're gonna let it sit for 2 more hours, and then we will cook it, and we'll come back at that point. Welcome back, and we now have had the dough rising for 2 hours. This is what it looks like. We're going to put it in the oven it's going to be in there for 30 minutes, but we're going to start at 500 degrees. We're going to put it at 500 degrees for 10 minutes. Then we're going to lower the temperature to 450, leave it in there for 10 minutes, and then we're going to lower the temperature to 350 and keep it in there for 10 minutes. At the same time, we're going to put a pan of ice in the bottom of the pan, or in the bottom of the oven, so kind of creates a little moisture. It helps create the hard shell for the bread. So we will return as soon as the bread is coming out of the oven. Okay, so now the bread is done. We finished up at the 350. We're going to turn it off. These are our 2 pieces that we made, our 2 loaves. So you can hear it's nice and hard, but the bottom still is a little bit moist. So we're going to put them back in. We're going to take them out of the pan and put them back in, just sitting on the rack. We've turned the oven off and put them back in, and you can just let it sit in there for it doesn't take very long, 5 minutes, and then they'll be done, and the bottom will be nice and crusty just like the top. Sitting in here for at least a good 5 minutes. You can see now the bottom is a little bit harder. Okay, the recipe does only do 1 loaf. We have people over today, so we did make 2 loaves, but don't be deceived. The recipe only makes 1 loaf. So, but there you have it. That is pan basico, or rustic bread, and we're gonna eat it with our salmon today. And as usual, it's gonna be really, really good. So, thank you for watching today.
Goodbye, Papa.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.